If our Cyberpunk lore series has got you impatiently awaiting the arrival of Cyberpunk 2077, then you are not alone. To help you pass the time, we've compiled a list of great cyberpunk-y books, movies, and games for you to tuck into. You'll probably have guessed this one would make the list, but I highly recommend checking out Cyberpunk 2020, the dystopian tabletop game that forms the basis for Cyberpunk 2077. Originally written by Mike Pondsmith in 1988, the tabletop RPG covers an alternative timeline of world events occurring between 2013 and 2045. As to the nature of those world events, well, check out our extensive lore videos. But the game consists of 10 key roles to choose from in character creation, difficulty values to contest with, net running, and combat centered around lethality. There's no better place to start than the game's 4th edition, Cyberpunk Red, if you're a tabletop fan waiting for 2077 to come out. Pondsmith told Dicebreaker that Blade Runner and Walter John Williams' novel Hardwired were inspirations for Cyberpunk, though a number of people assumed that William Gibson's Neuromancer also helped spawn the popular RPG. Pondsmith didn't actually read Neuromancer until some time later, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't check it out. Neuromancer, Burning Chrome, and Mona Lisa Overdrive are known together as the Spawn trilogy. Gibson's novels were published around the mid-80s and look at a fictional future where the world is ruled by corporations. The novel also explores the unintended consequences of rampant technology, including mind-machine links, the evolution of AI, and a global information space that Gibson called cyberspace. The term had been used once before, but not in reference to a digital space. Gibson's works are considered to be seminal entries in the cyberpunk genre. That is, alongside Philip K. Dick's 1968 novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which served as the narrative basis for both Blade Runner films, and is responsible in large part for kicking off the new wave science fiction movement and subsequently the cyberpunk subgenre. His 1977 sci-fi novel A Scanner Darkly was also set in a dystopian future California and was the basis for Richard Linklater's 2006 film of the same name, starring Keanu Reeves.
Two hemispheres of my brain are competing?
Yes.
So there's another 2077 connection for you there. If you're just not a book person, no worries. There's plenty of cyberpunky goodness to be found in more visual mediums. Look, it goes without saying that you should definitely watch the phenomenal Blade Runner movies, but if you haven't already, you should also check out Mad Max Fury Road. Apart from being, in my opinion, an almost perfectly crafted film, it effectively captures the cyberpunk subgenre's staple of, as Bruce Sterling writes in the preface to Gibson's book Burning Chrome, a combination of low life and high tech, where technological advancements are starkly contrasted against radical social unrest. The locations and vibe of the original Mad Max movies also serve as a great primer for Cyberpunk 2077's Badlands outside of Night City, and the nomad path that kicks off there. Fury Road is also worth your time because Charlize Theron is super cool, almost everyone is Aussie, and a dude plays a flame-throwing guitar on the front of a speeding amp-riddled truck. Good movie. As for what else you can watch on the big screen, check out Ghost in the Shell. No, not that Ghost in the Shell. There we go. Based on the manga of the same name, this 1995 anime cyberpunk film follows cyborg public security agent Motoko Kusanagi on her mission to hunt down a hacker called the Puppet Master in 2029. The narrative touches on themes of philosophy, human identity, and the implications of technological advancements in really fascinating ways. It's well worth a watch if you haven't seen it, or if you only caught the ScarJo one. But hey, maybe your ideal prep before playing Cyberpunk 2077 is just to play other great cyberpunk video games, in which case your first stop should be Bloober Team's Observer. The critically acclaimed psychological horror game follows Detective Daniel Lazarski, portrayed by none other than Rutger Hauer.
Well, I'm not a vegetable yet.
Lazarski can hack other people's minds in order to interrogate them and utilize augmented vision to scan electronic devices and biological evidence. The game is set in 2084 in Krakow after a devastating digital plague. GameSpot reviewer David Rayfield praised the game's superbly detailed environments, evocative sound design, and the cyberpunk story, which he called one of the most intriguing to be found in the genre in years. When it comes to other tech-heavy gaming franchises, there's probably one that comes to mind first: Deus Ex. Deus Ex's first entry was developed by Ion Storm in 2000. The series continued over the 2000s with Invisible War, Human Revolution, The Fall, and Mankind Divided. The games take place within a future Earth which has devolved into a dystopian cyberpunk society. Yeah, another one. Multiple organizations vie for control while the world is at war with a nanovirus called the Grey Death. In the middle of it all is our protagonist, nano-augmented newbie agent JC Denton. Aside from its cyberpunk narrative themes, the gameplay is designed to be flexible across multiple gameplay styles. It incorporates styles across the action role-playing, stealth, and first-person shooter genres. Much like Cyberpunk 2077, there's an emphasis on player choice, NPC relationships, and player agency granted through the game's RPG elements. If turn-based RPGs are your thing, it's worth checking out the dense and intriguing Shadowrun series, based on the tabletop game of the same name. The game takes place in a cyberpunk fantasy world in 2054, and you play as a Shadowrunner. Much like Cyberpunk's, Shadowrunners are mercs for hire, surviving on skill and instinct, and must navigate a world ruled by megacorporations. Shadowrun gained traction from its pen and paper roots by blending the vastly popular RPG with the most popular sci-fi media. Other honorable mentions in the video game realm include Watch Dogs, if what you're really after is that hacking fix, Flying Wild Hog's Cyberpunk FPS Hard Reset for shooter fans, and cyberpunk narrative adventure The Red Strings Club, which should sate those who like to talk the talk in a deep neon cyberpunk world with plenty going on beneath the surface. Let me know down in that comment box what your favorite cyberpunk books, movies, and games are, and between this and our cyberpunk lore series, we'll have you all ready to go for 2077 by the time it releases. We'll see you again soon.